You drift into the silence of space, where time seems to stretch like a river bending through light. There is no rush here, only the gentle pulse of existence itself. Around you, tiny specks of cosmic dust float lazily, catching stray rays of distant suns and reflecting them as soft sparks. Each grain is a remnant of a star long extinguished, carrying the memory of fusion and fire that once painted the cosmos. You feel a calm or settle over you, a quiet reminder that you are part of something vast, something older than comprehension. Far beyond the reach of planets and moons, there is a subtle shimmer. It is not light in the way your eyes know it, but a kind of presence, an energy that moves as if aware of itself. This is antimatter, the mirror of the matter you know. It is invisible until it brushes against its counterpart, matter, and then a brief, radiant burst appears, a spark of annihilation, releasing energy in a perfect, fleeting harmony. You do not fear it. You watch, as though waiting for a whispered secret to be spoken. Imagine holding a balloon, invisible and delicate, in your hands. Every particle of this balloon mirrors another particle somewhere else. One is ordinary matter, the kind that makes up your body, the chair beneath you, the air you breathe. The other is antimatter, reflecting every property, but opposite in charge. Positrons dance opposite electrons, antiprotons counterbalance protons. In the vastness around you, these particles glide through the emptiness, like shadows that almost touch, like distant echoes calling across a cosmic canyon. You sense a rhythm here. Stars are born in clouds of dust and gas, and their fires consume and transform matter over eons. Within these fires, positrons and electrons meet, producing bursts of energy that travel across light years to touch your mind like a caress. Every gamma-ray photon that reaches you carries a story of creation and destruction, and you listen with a quiet reverence. There is no hurry. There is only the flow of events, a steady heartbeat beneath the silent music of the universe. Floating further, you notice the delicate balance that keeps this dance ongoing. Matter dominates this corner of space, but here and there, a whisper of antimatter lingers. Perhaps it drifts from a pulsar, or maybe it is a remnant of the early universe, when every particle had a mirror, and the cosmos was evenly balanced. Scientists say this imbalance is a mystery, an elegant puzzle. And you feel it not as a problem to solve, but as poetry to witness. The universe, in all its vastness, is a story being told in energy and motion, and you are part of the listening. Your awareness drifts toward the birth of a star, a gentle cloud collapsing under its own gravity. Imagine the particles, ordinary and antimatter alike, moving like dancers guided by invisible hands. The cloud begins to spin, and a small point ignites at its heart. Fusion begins, and light stretches outward in a delicate pulse, touching the darkness beyond. You feel the warmth of that distant fire as though it were a thought rather than heat. It is a reminder that creation always emerges from the quiet tension of existence, that even in a space dominated by emptiness, light finds its way. Antimatter continues its silent journey nearby. Invisible yet present, it does not linger for long. When it meets matter, the encounter is both violent and beautiful, a tiny burst of light that carries energy across distances you cannot measure with your hands. Yet, even in these fleeting moments, there is balance. Energy does not vanish, it simply transforms. You notice the symmetry in this process, the way the universe preserves itself in elegant steps, as if a cosmic artist brushes each particle with care. Your thoughts drift to the atoms that compose you, mirrored by these distant particles. The electrons spinning around your own nuclei are the same as those moving through the space around a newborn star. Somewhere in a far galaxy, anti-electrons may be tracing the same patterns, a reflection you cannot see but can feel. You realize that in this way, you are connected to everything. The dance of particles is mirrored in your own breath, your own heartbeat. The cosmos is not separate, it is an extension of the quiet curiosity that inhabits you now. Time, here, has a softness. You watch light years unfold in seconds, yet feel no rush. You watch nebulae twist, streams of charged particles spiral along magnetic fields, and clouds of interstellar dust drift lazily. You imagine the antimatter threading through it all like hidden threads in a vast tapestry, unseen but shaping the pattern, carrying potential and mystery. Each encounter with matter writes a fleeting note, a shimmer of energy that tells a story, and then continues on its quiet path. The universe is ancient, older than memory or measure. You feel yourself folding into this age, a single consciousness tracing the outlines of the cosmic narrative. The balance between matter and antimatter is delicate, yet it is not fragile. It is the quiet assurance of continuity, the way your own pulse remains steady even as your thoughts wander. In this stillness, you perceive the elegance of physics, the way forces and particles and energies coexist without chaos, creating structures that can host life, stars, and the delicate flicker of awareness that is you. Imagine a mirror that is not glass, but the fabric of reality itself. Every particle you know has an opposite, a reflection that exists in harmony or in fleeting collision. Antimatter is that mirror, revealing to the universe its own potential, reminding it that balance is a subtle art. You move through this reflection, feeling its presence without touch, understanding without explanation. It is like standing beside a stream that glows faintly in the moonlight, feeling its flow even though your hand does not touch the water. You are aware now of the gentle hum of the cosmos. Stars pulse, black holes whisper, and galaxies drift, spiraling silently through the void. The interplay of matter and antimatter is a quiet thread woven into this greater melody, subtle but essential. You notice how little is truly wasted. Energy transforms, moves, and returns, like breath circulating in an endless rhythm. It is a comforting thought, this eternal recycling, and it carries a serenity that sinks deep into your mind. As your journey continues, you sense the universe as both vast and intimately close. Each particle of antimatter reminds you that there are things unseen, mysteries that do not demand answers, only attention. You feel a connection to the forces that sculpt galaxies, to the quiet tension of creation, and to the mirror image of existence floating just beyond perception. There is no urgency here, only wonder, and that wonder becomes your companion. Slowly, your attention begins to shift. You notice patterns emerging, the spiral of a galaxy, the filament of a nebula, the arc of charged particles tracing magnetic lines. The delicate balance of matter and antimatter whispers through these structures, hinting at questions yet unanswered. What secrets remain hidden in this cosmic mirror? How did matter come to dominate, leaving only traces of its opposite behind? And you feel the thrill of curiosity, gentle and patient, inviting you to continue. You drift, carrying this awareness like a candle in the dark. The cosmos stretches infinitely in every direction, yet you feel the intimacy of each particle, each glimmer of light, each fleeting encounter. Antimatter, once a mystery, becomes a companion of sorts, silent, elusive, and shimmering with potential. You feel the pulse of the universe in a way you have never noticed before, slow, deliberate, and profoundly alive. And as you float in this quiet vastness, you sense the journey unfolding. The universe is a story told through particles, energy, and light, and you are part of its listening. You move toward the next question, the next wonder: what unseen forces guide the formation of galaxies, and how do the whispers of the past shape the present? You do not need to hurry. The next chapter waits, soft and inevitable, ready to reveal the next layer of cosmic wonder. You begin in a quiet room of thought, where the universe feels close enough to touch. Imagine the stars beyond your window, each one a lamp in a vast hall of darkness. Somewhere within that cosmic theater, the dancers of matter swirl, spinning in patterns that feel like music you cannot hear, yet sense in the pulse of your own being. Antimatter is like the mirror image of everything you know. For every particle of matter, there exists a shadow, an opposite twin that carries a whisper of the same essence, yet behaves in reverse. It is familiar, and yet it is so rare that it almost seems imagined. The idea is soft and delicate, a hint of symmetry hidden behind the boldness of reality. You picture the electrons you know, tiny companions of atoms, and then see their shadows, positrons, skipping lightly through the void, almost invisible, almost ethereal. In the early days of discovery, scientists noticed hints of these elusive particles, traces like footprints in fresh snow. When a particle meets its shadow, the two embrace and vanish together, releasing a burst of energy so bright it rivals the sun. This vanishing is not loss but transformation, a quiet reminder that even absence can be luminous. Imagine standing at the edge of a dark lake and seeing a sudden ripple of reflected light, brief but unforgettable. That is the effect of annihilation, the soft whisper of creation hidden in every tiny collision. Your mind wanders further. You imagine the accelerators where these shadows are coaxed into existence. The machines hum like deep, steady breaths, and within them, matter and antimatter chase each other, circling in a delicate dance. You feel the rhythm, almost musical, each pulse of the machine a heartbeat connecting you to a universe that continues whether you notice or not. Every collision releases a shimmer of insight, a small glow in the vast, dark theater. Antimatter is not just a curiosity, it is a bridge to possibility. You picture a spacecraft, carrying you silently through the stars, propelled by reactions born of these ghostly shadows. The energy released from their embrace could lift a ship in a single, bright pulse, carrying it across distances that today feel impossible. You sense a gentle excitement, a calm exhilaration, as though understanding this strange substance is like learning a secret rhythm to which the cosmos itself dances. Yet, for all its promise, antimatter is fleeting. It cannot be hoarded, it cannot be tamed easily. It exists mostly in whispers, glimpsed in fleeting experiments, teased out in controlled collisions, measured with careful patience. It is a reminder of the fragility and beauty of knowledge, the fact that understanding requires both observation and imagination. You feel this lesson deeply, as though it has entered not just your mind but your very being. Your thoughts drift to the particles themselves, each one spinning, twirling, racing at the edges of possibility. You imagine them as dancers on an endless stage, performing a choreography older than time, unseen yet perfectly precise. Each collision, each tiny spark of energy, is a moment of quiet wonder, a heartbeat in the larger pulse of existence. You feel a sense of intimacy with the universe, a closeness born not of touch but of comprehension, as though simply noticing allows you to share in its secret life. In this quiet reflection, the line between science and meditation blurs. You do not merely observe, you participate. The equations, the experiments, the gentle hum of discovery, all of it becomes a lullaby, a rhythm that guides your attention and calms your mind. Knowledge is no longer distant or abstract, it glows softly, like embers in a hearth, illuminating the contours of your curiosity. You let your imagination drift further, picturing antimatter in distant nebulae, in the hearts of stars, in the mysterious voids where light itself seems hesitant. There is beauty in its rarity, a poetry in its resistance to permanence. And yet, in those fleeting instants where matter and antimatter meet, there is brilliance, a gentle flash that tells of transformation, connection, and the underlying symmetry of the cosmos. Your mind feels weightless now, floating among possibilities, exploring the delicate balance of creation and annihilation. Each thought is a tiny spark, illuminating the vast dark canvas. You sense that understanding, even in its smallest form, is a form of intimacy with the universe, a quiet conversation across distances unmeasurable and moments unseen. And as you linger in this meditation, a question forms softly at the edges of your awareness. If antimatter is the mirror of everything we know, what other reflections of reality are waiting to be discovered? What hidden dances continue unseen, and what gentle illuminations might guide your next step in this journey through the cosmos? You begin by standing at the edge of a river unlike any you have ever seen. It is not water that flows here, nor is it wind, but energy itself. Each ripple carries a whisper of potential, a promise of motion that is both subtle and immense. You lean forward, feeling the gentle pull of something beyond your usual senses, an invisible current that stretches from the tiniest particle to the vastness of space. This is the river of antimatter, a silent river of possibility, shimmering with a strange, luminous quiet. You think of Einstein, whose equation E=mc² hums softly in the back of your mind. It is a simple line of symbols, yet within it lives the secret of transformation. Matter and energy are not separate, but reflections of each other, two faces of the same coin. You imagine a grain of sand dissolving into pure light, the ordinary turning extraordinary. This is the same principle that guides antimatter, the tiny, mirror-like siblings of the particles around you, carrying the exact opposite charge, yet poised to release energy that seems almost like magic. In this quiet moment, you see how energy feels alive. It does not roar or shout, it moves with elegance, like silk unfolding in water. Antimatter holds within it the densest form of potential. 1 gram, a fragment of what could fit in the palm of your hand, contains the energy equivalent of thousands of kilograms of fuel. You let this thought settle in your mind slowly, like leaves drifting down onto a calm pond, sinking yet floating at the same time. Your journey along this river is not hurried. You glide past atoms and antiatoms as if they were dancers, spinning effortlessly in slow motion. When they meet, they vanish in a delicate flash, a release of light that is both sudden and serene. You watch, feeling the quiet exhilaration of understanding. It is here that you sense the paradox of antimatter. It is both destructive and creative, a fleeting spark that could power a spacecraft or illuminate a city if harnessed gently, carefully, with the wisdom of patience. You allow your mind to drift further. Imagine a spaceship riding this river, not through engines that roar, but through an elegant, invisible hand that guides energy with precision. Antimatter is the current, and the ship is a leaf, floating, yet propelled forward with a strength that belies its gentle motion. Every interaction, every careful release of energy, is a conversation between you and the cosmos. You sense the intimacy of it. The universe does not rush here, it whispers, and you lean in to listen. Time itself seems to bend as you glide. You think of the particles that form stars and the atoms that make up your own body. They are not so different from the antimatter around you, merely reflections, echoes, mirrored possibilities. Each annihilation is a small surrender, a transformation from form to essence, releasing light and heat that could travel across the vacuum of space. You imagine this light tracing a path toward distant worlds, a soft, golden thread stitching together the fabric of the universe. Here, in this meditative current, you notice the contrasts. Matter clings to itself, forming mountains, oceans, and forests, while antimatter exists in fleeting brilliance, ephemeral yet potent. You feel a kind of respect for this balance. Energy is not a force to be tamed by impatience. It is a companion, a river to float upon, a gentle guide through the vast landscapes of imagination and understanding. You ponder the human desire to harness this energy. To create engines, to reach stars, to bend the rules of travel and time itself. There is a responsibility here, one that calls for patience and reverence. The energy you see does not belong to anyone, it is a gift of the universe, waiting to be invited, not forced. You imagine scientists working quietly, their minds attuned to the subtle rhythms of the river, translating the beauty of antimatter into tangible, controlled motion. Each experiment is a soft step into the current, a careful touch that honors both the power and fragility of this energy. In the silence, you feel your own body resonate with the rhythm of this flow. Your breath aligns with the ebb and surge of energy around you. You notice the spark in the air, tiny particles dancing in mirrored opposition, a reflection of your curiosity and your awe. Your heart slows, your thoughts untangle, and for a moment, you are not separate from the river. You are part of its motion, a quiet observer and participant at once. The river of antimatter is not just a concept, not merely equations on a page. It is a living idea, a narrative that stretches from the microcosm to the macrocosm. You imagine its current reaching toward distant planets, weaving through the void, carrying with it the potential for discovery. The energy is patient, it does not rush, and neither do you. You watch as particles approach each other, collide, and release their brilliance in tiny, radiant pulses. Each flash illuminates your understanding, a gentle affirmation that the universe is vast, yet accessible through the quiet observation of its laws. You take a step closer to the edge of comprehension. Antimatter is a paradox that invites humility. It is simple in principle yet profound in consequence. You envision the rivers of energy branching into the cosmos, guiding spacecraft silently, powering civilizations that might one day learn to ride these currents without disruption. The thought is both thrilling and calming. There is no hurry here, the universe expands at its own pace, and you are allowed to follow, to observe, and to dream. As the river flows past, you consider the subtle poetry of energy transformation. The annihilation of particles is not a violent end but a metamorphosis, a return to light. You imagine a spacecraft gliding silently, propelled by these tiny, controlled explosions. Each flash is a heartbeat in the body of the universe, a rhythmic pulse that reminds you of your own connection to the cosmos. Energy is not merely a tool, it is a companion, a teacher, a mirror of the infinite patience that underlies existence itself. You close your eyes briefly, letting the river's motion wash over your thoughts. You feel the warmth of understanding seep into your consciousness. Each particle, each fragment of antimatter, is a note in a symphony, a delicate contribution to the music of creation. You realize that harnessing this energy is not merely a scientific endeavor but an emotional one, a meditation on the balance between power and grace. You inhale the quiet potential, exhale the tension of curiosity, and allow your imagination to drift toward the uncharted reaches of possibility. In this space between thought and perception, you feel anticipation without urgency. The river continues its slow, wide journey, carrying you along in a gentle embrace. You sense the bridge between science and imagination, the dance between measurable fact and the poetry of potential. Antimatter is no longer just an abstract concept, it is a living flow, a companion that guides your mind and spirit, whispering of energy, light, and the gentle power that could one day move entire spacecraft through the quiet vastness of space. The river winds onward, its path uncharted yet inviting. You feel the pull of the next discovery, the subtle question that lies ahead, shimmering like a distant star on the horizon. The calm intensity of antimatter lingers in your thoughts, a reflection of the vast energy waiting to be understood, respected, and gently harnessed. You release your gaze to the river's shimmering surface, feeling both grounded and lifted, knowing that the next chapter of this journey will invite you further, to imagine and explore the delicate, luminous currents of the cosmos. You enter softly, as if the air itself is holding its breath. The laboratories stretch before you like quiet cathedrals, filled with the humming of machines and the faint glimmer of lights that blink in careful rhythm. Every surface seems to vibrate with expectation, each instrument a note in a delicate symphony composed by human curiosity. You move along the rows of glass and steel, feeling a peculiar intimacy with the work unfolding here, as if the universe itself leans closer to watch. A magnetic trap hums gently, invisible forces holding particles in their delicate orbits. You imagine them suspended in midair, dancing in patterns too small for your eyes to see, yet each motion precise, deliberate, like choreographed dances in a slow, cosmic ballet. The scientists nearby speak in hushed tones, almost like they fear disturbing the fragile balance. And perhaps they do, for what they are handling is not just matter, but the raw, almost sacred threads of the universe. Rockets lie quietly on their stands, inert for now, yet brimming with potential. You walk around one, noticing the careful curvature of its body, the polished metal that reflects the soft overhead lights. Every bolt, every seam, is a testament to patience. Here, failure is not shunned but studied, each misstep a quiet teacher guiding the next attempt. The smell of warm electronics and faint ozone clings to the air, mingling with the subtle scent of human presence, coffee, paper, and quiet excitement. You pause at a console where particle collisions are mapped as shimmering trails of light. Each flash tells a story, not a story of chaos, but of hidden order. The data points scatter and converge like fireflies in the night, and you realize that behind every number, every graph, lies an attempt to touch the intangible. It is as if humans are whispering to the universe, saying, "We are here, and we wish to understand." And the universe, in its vast patience, answers slowly, revealing secrets only to those willing to wait, to observe, to wonder. A scientist adjusts a dial, and a magnet shifts slightly, changing the trajectory of invisible particles. You sense the profound delicacy of these gestures, a touch too firm, a calculation slightly off, and the entire experiment may collapse. Yet within this fragility lies beauty. There is poetry and precision, in the steady hands that coax nature into revealing its hidden harmonies. You notice the way light falls across a panel, creating fleeting patterns, reminding you that even in the most technical spaces, there is art, unintentional yet undeniable. The laboratory air feels almost sacred, carrying a mixture of anticipation and quiet reverence. You imagine the countless nights spent observing, adjusting, and measuring, the human heart beating in synchrony with machinery and data. Each experiment becomes a meditation, a bridge between thought and reality. You watch a small particle accelerate along its track, invisible yet known through its traces, and you feel a deep empathy for the human mind trying to hold infinity in its hands. Near a window, sunlight touches the edge of a control panel, illuminating dust motes that float lazily, like tiny planets orbiting an unseen star. You close your eyes for a moment and feel the rhythm of the laboratory, the gentle pulse of electricity, the subtle vibrations of machinery, the soft, almost imperceptible sigh of moving air. It is a world contained, yet infinitely open, each machine a portal to understanding realms too vast to see directly. You wander toward a bank of screens, each displaying streams of numbers and flowing graphs. The data seems chaotic at first, yet your gaze softens, and patterns emerge, spirals, arcs, and pulses that speak a language older than any human words. You feel as if the scientists themselves are listening, not just to their instruments, but to the echoes of the universe, interpreting its whispers with patience and care. And you realize that here, knowledge is not a conquest, but a conversation, one of quiet respect, curiosity, and humility. A rocket test is scheduled, and the team moves with synchronized calm. You observe from a safe distance, sensing the tension and the trust coexisting in equal measure. The ignition sequence begins, lights blinking like distant stars signaling readiness. Though the rocket does not yet leave the ground, the potential is tangible, humming through the floor beneath your feet. You imagine it soaring eventually, a slender arrow piercing the atmosphere, carrying not only instruments and fuel but also human hope, daring, and wonder. Somewhere in the room, a particle beam arcs across its chamber, invisible to the eye yet leaving delicate trails that appear as shadows on a monitor. The scientist guiding it watches patiently, adjusting ever so slightly, whispering to it in equations and gestures. You feel a strange kinship with this unseen particle, both of you momentarily suspended in attention, caught between control and surrender. There is a rhythm here, and it is as old as the stars: experiment, observation, reflection. You walk past shelves lined with journals and notebooks, pages filled with meticulous observations and gentle musings. Each note is a testament to time spent in quiet contemplation, a dialogue between mind and cosmos. The handwriting varies, some hurried, some flowing like poetry, yet every entry reflects the same core, a yearning to understand, to see what others have not, to touch what seems untouchable. You feel the continuity of human curiosity stretching backward through generations, a thread connecting every whispered question and patient experiment. A subtle vibration travels through the floor as a larger experiment hums to life. You place your hand gently on a railing, feeling the faint resonance, sensing the interconnection between human endeavor and the laws of the universe. You understand that each trial, each calculation, is a bridge, fragile, deliberate, and beautiful, between our fleeting presence and the eternal vastness beyond. The laboratory becomes more than a room, it is a vessel of patience, a cathedral of inquiry where wonder is cultivated with tender care. The hum quiets, machines settling like creatures content after movement. You linger in the silence, sensing the invisible threads that tie curiosity to reality, effort to understanding. Outside the glass walls, the world continues, ordinary, unaware, yet inside, a microcosm of cosmic exploration breathes softly. You feel the intimacy between human hands and universal forces, a delicate dance of trust and persistence. And in this quiet reverence, you carry a sense of awe, knowing that each experiment, no matter how small, is a note in an endless lullaby of discovery. Your gaze drifts to a small corner where unused instruments wait patiently, silent witnesses to the unfolding work. You realize that here, nothing is wasted, nothing rushed, every spark, every flicker, every moment of stillness contributes to the rhythm of understanding. And as you prepare to leave, a thought lingers, that the laboratory, with all its lights, dials, and machines, is not merely a place of science, but a sanctuary for the mind, where human patience meets the infinite, and where the whispers of curiosity echo into the unknown. And as you step toward the door, the soft glow of a distant particle chamber calls you onward, hinting at mysteries that stretch beyond what you can see, waiting for your next quiet step into the vast unknown. You close your eyes, and suddenly, the vast silence of space unfolds within you. Not the silence of emptiness, but a quiet that carries possibility, a gentle hum that threads through every thought. There, beyond the comforting pull of earth, light becomes a companion, brushing past your awareness like a soft wind over still water. You sense it, not as something distant or untouchable, but as something intimate, a stream you might drift upon. Each photon is a tiny messenger, moving at the ultimate speed, carrying with it stories of the stars it left behind millions, even billions, of years ago. Imagine each particle as a feather, weightless, delicate, yet unstoppable. They rush forward, yet their motion is effortless, an eternal glide through the canvas of the cosmos. You reach out, and though your hand meets nothing tangible, your mind feels the brush of this river of light. Its presence is gentle, but it hums with the promise of motion, a secret rhythm of the universe that is both precise and poetic. You begin to visualize a craft, not bulky, not mechanical, but delicate, almost ephemeral, riding these streams. It does not push against anything, it does not fight against resistance, for there is none. Instead, it becomes part of the flow, moving where the photons guide. You float along, a passenger in a quiet, bright current, feeling the subtle pull of the universe's most fundamental messenger. The craft responds to light as naturally as a leaf glides down a river, shifting direction with the flow, following the contours of an invisible path. In this space of meditation, speed is not just a measure of distance over time. It is a sensation, a gentle stretching of perception. The stars around you are no longer points of fire, but markers of a journey, glowing softly as you pass. You notice the interplay of shadows and brilliance, how the void between objects is not empty but full of light waiting to carry you. Each moment expands, stretching into a calm awareness of motion, the rhythm of photons brushing past like tiny hands whispering through the darkness. Time begins to feel elastic, softening its rigid lines. Here, aboard your imagined vessel, you are aware of the subtle paradox, moving with light, yet observing its every nuance. You feel a tender intimacy with the photons, as if each one is a guide, a friend carrying knowledge of the universe. Their paths intersect and diverge, weaving a luminous tapestry around you. The sensation is not chaotic, but harmonious, like a silent symphony composed in real time. You notice the warmth of awareness, not heat, but a glow that radiates from understanding. Riding light is no longer just a scientific dream, it becomes a meditation. Each photon's journey from distant stars mirrors your own inner journey through curiosity, wonder, and soft reflection. You feel your mind syncing with the pulse of these tiny travelers, sensing patterns in the chaos, finding the quiet logic that governs even the fastest things in existence. Your craft, imagined yet tangible in sensation, glides along trails of starlight. You notice variations in intensity. Some photons arrive from stars long extinguished, while others carry the fresh gleam of young suns. This layering creates a delicate texture to the universe, a subtle complexity that feels alive. Riding along, you begin to sense the scale of it all, the incredible distances light must travel, the patient persistence of these particles, and the gentle inevitability of their motion. It is breathtaking, not in the way of sudden awe, but in a quiet, profound understanding that seeps into your bones. You become aware of the subtle forces that allow such a journey. There is no friction, no turbulence, only the harmonious passage through vacuum. In this emptiness, movement is effortless. Your vessel is neither heavy nor bound, it dances along the photon streams with a grace you could never replicate on Earth. Each twist, each turn is dictated not by mechanical push, but by a delicate dance with the light itself. You sense the elegance of the cosmos in this motion, a rhythm that is as much felt as it is observed. As you drift, you reflect on what it means to ride light. Not to dominate it, not to chase it, but to become part of its continuity. Each photon seems to acknowledge your presence, bending perception, whispering secrets of distances, of time, of the birthplaces of stars. You feel a soft exhilaration, a gentle pulse of joy that comes from comprehension without effort. Knowledge flows not as data, but as sensation, a luminous stream threading through the quiet corridors of thought. The universe around you shifts subtly. Colors become softer, almost imperceptibly glowing with a hue only light can create. You notice subtle gradations in the cosmic glow, an unending play of illumination and shadow. It is not overwhelming, it is tender, meditative. Each star, each beam of light, participates in a quiet dialogue with your senses, coaxing awareness rather than demanding it. You breathe along with the rhythm of the photons, inhaling wonder and exhaling tranquility, feeling the invisible currents of the cosmos move through and around you. You sense the paradox of proximity and distance. The photons touching your mind are ancient, yet immediate. They traveled for eons, yet here they are, brushing past your awareness. In this moment, time feels layered, stretched, and yet comforting. You are not rushing toward a destination, nor is there a goal to attain. Riding the photon stream is a practice in presence, a way to fold infinity gently into your consciousness. The light carries not only energy, but patience, teaching that speed and serenity can coexist. You notice the subtle lessons hidden in this meditation. The cosmos, in all its immensity, moves in gentle order. Even the fastest travelers, photons, follow paths that are not haphazard, but exquisitely balanced. You begin to see parallels in your own journey: patience, awareness, alignment with the forces that carry you forward. Riding light is a metaphor, yes, but also a method. You feel a quiet expansion of perception, a soft stretching of curiosity across the void. The current of light carries you past imagined celestial landmarks. A nebula drifts by like a slowly unfurling veil, its colors soft yet vivid, whispering the history of countless stars. You glide past it effortlessly, your movement dictated by the light itself, learning to sense contours and rhythms. There is a meditative precision in following these trails, a lesson in attentiveness, in noticing the subtleties of motion and illumination. You begin to internalize the idea that understanding can be both gentle and exact, like tracing a pattern in water. And as you travel, you start to see the cosmos not as a collection of isolated points, but as an interwoven tapestry of light and shadow, time and space, motion and stillness. Each photon, each gentle stream, connects one region of the universe to another, linking past and present in a quiet, relentless continuum. You feel a subtle kinship with these particles, understanding that in following them, you follow the rhythms of existence itself. Your mind drifts further, blending with the stream. You sense not only movement, but the delicate potential of light to guide, to carry, to illuminate paths both physical and conceptual. The craft, the voyage, and the photons all merge into a singular sensation of flow, a gentle current that teaches without speaking, that moves without force, that guides without urgency. You are a passenger, yes, but also a participant, coexisting with the pulse of the universe in a quiet, meditative harmony. And as the light continues, you realize the journey has no strict destination. The photons do not tire, the stream does not end, and your awareness continues to stretch and expand along with them. There is a sense of timelessness, of perpetual movement intertwined with stillness. Each moment folds into the next like a gentle wave, carrying both knowledge and calm, the infinite potential of understanding carried softly across the void. The stream of photons whispers a final lesson for now: that motion and awareness, speed and serenity, can coexist. That the universe is patient, luminous, and endlessly giving. And as you drift with this current, you sense the subtle beckoning of what lies ahead, not a place, but a deeper understanding, a continuation of the journey along the light itself. You step softly into a room that hums with invisible energy. The walls are lined with instruments that glint under muted lights, yet the true marvel is not what you see, but what you cannot. Antimatter, the mirror of matter, waits here, not in cages of steel or glass, but in fields that bend and sway like invisible rivers. You feel the subtle pull, a quiet vibration against your skin, a whisper of something that wants to escape. You imagine a single positron, a particle no larger than a thought, drifting freely. Alone, it would vanish at the touch of the world's ordinary matter, disappearing in a burst of light and heat. Yet here, in these magnetic bottles, it is suspended. You watch the loops of field lines dance around it, forming a cage of energy, a sanctuary that exists only because humans have learned to persuade the laws of the universe to hold still for a moment. The magnet coils twist in perfect geometry, they hum a lullaby for the ungraspable. You can almost feel the tiny force pushing against the particle, a soft but unyielding insistence that it remain. Each quantum trap is a promise, a delicate trust extended from human ingenuity to the universe itself. You sense that this trust is mutual. The universe allows you this tiny dominion, aware that your hands are unsteady, aware that your curiosity flirts with danger. You think of the fragility of this arrangement. One faltering current, one misaligned field, and the particle would touch its counterpart and vanish. The resulting annihilation would be beautiful and terrifying, a flash of pure energy, a reminder that control is only ever temporary. Yet here, now, it remains suspended. The awareness of this balance, between creation and destruction, control and surrender, flows through you like a gentle tide. Your mind drifts to the metaphorical implications. Antimatter is not just a scientific pursuit, it is a reflection of how we live with the forces that surround us. How often do you attempt to hold what naturally slips through your fingers? How often do you try to bend reality to your will, forgetting that even the most careful hands cannot master everything? Here, in this chamber of whispers and quiet hums, the lesson is clear: respect the unseen, honor the fragile, and allow the universe its freedom even as you marvel at your small influence. You wander closer to one of the magnetic bottles. Its field lines are invisible, yet you can sense them, like soft strands of silk brushing against your awareness. You imagine the positron swirling inside, dancing along paths that no eye can see, guided by rules older than any civilization. Each loop is a story of restraint, each bounce against the invisible wall a tiny miracle of timing and precision. You realize that holding antimatter is not domination, it is partnership. The universe allows this particle to linger only because you approach with humility, not arrogance. You take a deep breath, imagining the energy contained in such a small space. A single gram of antimatter could release the force of a star's heartbeat, yet here it is quiet, patient, almost meditative. There is a strange poetry in that restraint, the way immense power is held with nothing but intention and delicate architecture. You feel your own pulse slow, synchronized with the rhythm of these invisible forces, a soft reminder that science is not only about knowledge but about reverence. Walking among the traps, you notice the subtle variations. Some fields shimmer faintly as they adjust to contain their charges. Others are stable, a silent testament to decades of refinement. Each one tells a story of trial and error, of human persistence, and of the respect paid to something that refuses to be tamed. You reflect on your own life. How often do you try to control that which cannot be controlled? How often do you forget that some things, no matter how fascinating, require patience and care rather than force? The thought of annihilation lingers in your mind, but it no longer frightens you. Instead, it illuminates the beauty of the present. You understand that power, like curiosity, is a double-edged thing. It can destroy as easily as it can create, yet when approached with respect, it can reveal wonders otherwise invisible. The magnetic bottles are a metaphor for your own boundaries, your own need to hold lightly, to guide rather than dominate, to witness rather than consume. You pause near a display that shows simulated collisions. Tiny flashes of light illustrate what happens when matter and antimatter meet. There is both fear and fascination in the display, a fleeting, radiant reminder of the universe's power. You close your eyes and imagine that same brilliance in slow motion, each photon a ripple through space, each burst of energy a whisper that the cosmos is vast, and you are small. The awe is gentle, not overwhelming, a soft hum in your chest that encourages reflection rather than panic. As you wander further, you notice a pattern. The more you observe, the more you see how everything is in balance. The positrons do not struggle against their fields, they follow the lines naturally. The forces that contain them are firm but invisible. And you realize that in your own life, and in your own mind, balance is the same. Guiding without grasping, noticing without clinging, engaging without forcing. The magnetic cages are a lesson in patience, a meditation in motion, and a reminder that some of the universe's most precious things are also its most fragile. You imagine the journey these particles might take if released. They would not wander aimlessly, they would meet their counterparts in a flash of energy, a brilliant finale to a silent life. And yet, in the pause, in the careful containment, there is something sacred. The moment itself, suspended in time, is a gift. You feel your heartbeat echo the rhythm of the trapped particles, a quiet resonance of life and potential, of forces that are both understood and mysterious. You sit quietly, letting the hum of the room wash over you. The invisible rivers of magnetic energy ripple gently, a lullaby for the impossible, a meditation for the mind. You understand now that curiosity is not about conquest, but about reverence. The universe offers its secrets only to those who approach with care, who respect the fragility of existence, who allow brilliance to shine without demanding it to bend to their will. And as you rise to leave, you carry a quiet awareness with you. The particles remain, suspended in their fields, fragile and resilient all at once. You step toward the door, knowing that this is not the end of the journey. Beyond these walls lies a cosmos full of mysteries, waiting patiently for those willing to observe with wonder, to explore without greed, and to hold lightly what cannot truly be held. You stand at the edge of a quiet launch pad, where the air is heavy with anticipation and a hint of ozone, as if the universe itself is holding its breath. Before you, the rocket rests like a silver arrow poised to pierce the heavens. It is small compared to the vastness that awaits, yet within it pulses the most potent energy ever harnessed, antimatter, a mirror of matter, a delicate balance between existence and annihilation. You can almost hear the soft hum of its latent power, like a heartbeat beneath the hull, waiting for your signal to awaken. When ignition begins, it is not a roar, but a song. Light curls and stretches behind the rocket, a comet's tail trailing through the atmosphere, dissolving into the dusk like a painter's final stroke. The fire is beautiful, precise, a gentle force that tugs you forward without haste. You feel the acceleration as a quiet pressure against your body, not frightening, but intimate, the universe inviting you to move, to leave behind gravity's firm grasp. Each meter traveled is a meditation, each second an unfolding of space that seems to bend and stretch at your command. As the rocket climbs, you gaze back toward the world you leave behind. Continents shrink, oceans blend into one another, and the pale glow of cities dims to a tender sparkle. The earth becomes a thought, a memory wrapped in blues and greens, cradled by clouds like soft whispers. You wonder how many minds have looked up at the stars from this tiny blue sphere, each seeking understanding, each dreaming of what lies beyond. And now, you join them, not as a distant observer, but as an explorer moving gently through the cosmos. The first stars pierce the darkening sky, not as mere points of light, but as companions along your journey. Some shine steadily, like lanterns in the night, others pulse, like breathing entities that mark their presence with quiet insistence. You begin to notice their subtle differences, color, brightness, rhythm, each detail a new note in the symphony of the universe. As you move past them, distance itself becomes an elastic concept. Light years shrink and stretch, time slows and bends, until the familiar rules of measurement are replaced by sensation. You feel the universe more than you observe it, sensing its scale in the rhythm of your own breathing. Planets drift into view, each one a question softly posed. A crimson sphere floats like a jewel against the velvet black, its surface etched with canyons that tell of eons of change. Another glows pale blue, its atmosphere a thin veil protecting hidden oceans. You imagine the possibilities, the silent potential for life or the quiet dance of geological forces shaping landscapes in invisible ways. You do not need answers yet. The act of noticing, of feeling the intricacies of these distant worlds, is itself a meditation. In this quiet voyage, time becomes pliant. You remember moments on Earth, yet they feel distant, stretched by the emptiness between stars. 1 second can hold hours of reflection, 1 hour can enfold a lifetime of thoughts. The universe stretches and folds around you, a tapestry of moments and memories. You realize that moving through space is not only a physical journey, but a journey of perception, where every heartbeat aligns with cosmic rhythms and every breath becomes a meditation on existence. Energy pulses around the rocket, subtle and unseen. Antimatter and matter entwine, annihilating and releasing pure light and force. The process is violent in theory, yet here, experienced from the cocoon of your vessel, it feels almost gentle. It is a reminder of the delicate balance that underlies reality, how creation and destruction coexist, how the tiniest particles define the grandest motions. You think of atoms colliding in quiet fireworks, of photons racing across the void, of forces you can neither see nor touch, yet whose presence shapes every star and planet you pass. The rocket becomes not just a vehicle, but an extension of the universe's rhythm, moving in harmony with forces both subtle and immense. As you glide further, the emptiness itself speaks. Silence is no longer absence, but presence, a canvas on which your thoughts and questions float freely. You notice the delicate curvature of space-time, invisible yet tangible in the way your journey unfolds. Light bends, shadows shift, and distances shimmer, reminding you that the cosmos is not static, but alive with subtle motion. You sense that every step forward is both discovery and meditation, an act that binds you to the universe while inviting contemplation of your place within it. The journey becomes hypnotic. Stars pass in slow arcs, nebulae glow like ethereal brushstrokes across the canvas of night, and black voids stretch in solemn grace. Each sight is a reminder of scale, of the immensity in which you move, yet it never overwhelms. Instead, it nurtures a sense of intimacy. You feel a connection to distant worlds and fleeting light alike, as though the universe has folded itself gently around your awareness. Curiosity becomes your guide, and wonder your constant companion. You notice subtle shifts in light as the rocket arcs past a binary system. Twin suns dance, casting interlaced shadows across invisible terrains. The play of gravitational forces seems like choreography, elegant and precise. You reflect on the unseen forces shaping everything around you, not only in space but in thought, in memory, in the quiet choices that led you to this voyage. There is a comfort in understanding that the universe is both predictable and mysterious, structured yet unpredictable, vast yet intimate. Eventually, a distant galaxy floats into view, a soft swirl of stars, gas, and dust. It is enormous, impossible to measure in human terms, yet seen from your quiet perch it feels like a companion, a distant relative on this journey through light and time. You allow yourself to linger in its presence, tracing the patterns of its spiral arms with your mind, imagining the countless worlds it holds, each orbiting its own star, each carrying its own story. And you feel the gentle thrill of connection, a reminder that even across immense distances, observation creates intimacy, and attention brings the cosmos closer. The rocket continues, unstoppable yet unhurried, a vehicle of thought as much as motion. You reflect on how travel changes perception, how seeing the universe unfold around you reshapes the understanding of time, scale, and possibility. You realize that movement is not only through space, but through understanding, each light year a meditation on what it means to exist, to notice, to wonder. In this quiet drift, the journey begins to blend with reflection. Stars, planets, galaxies, all seem to whisper in a language of light and pattern. Your mind dances between curiosity and comprehension, between awe and tranquility. The rocket is both a tool and a companion, carrying you gently across the void while allowing your thoughts to stretch and expand. As the first chapter of this voyage concludes, you sense that each moment of observation is a meditation, each motion a thought given form. You have moved through space not only with your body, but with your mind, letting the vastness of the universe reshape the rhythm of your breath and the cadence of your reflection. The voyage is only beginning, and the questions of what lies ahead shimmer just beyond reach, like starlight barely touching your skin. You turn toward the next horizon, where the dance of gravity and light promises new revelations, and you realize that curiosity is not a destination, but a gentle, unending journey. You sit with a notebook, a pen hovering above crisp, blank pages, feeling the soft weight of possibility. Numbers are not mere symbols here, they are the soft pulses of a hidden universe, murmuring their secrets to anyone willing to listen. Each equation becomes a gentle rhythm, a heartbeat that echoes the same cadence as distant stars. You begin by imagining a particle and its mirror twin, matter and antimatter, poised in a delicate cosmic dance. The first line you write is simple, almost shy, E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass multiplied by the speed of light squared. You breathe in the enormity of it, feeling the potential trapped in every gram of matter. Antimatter, you realize, is not dangerous by itself, it is potential, waiting patiently for the moment of transformation. The equations begin to whisper of annihilation, not destruction, a release of energy that feels almost like a sigh from the cosmos itself. You trace a circle on the page, imagining the paths of positrons and electrons, colliding softly within magnetic fields. The formulas start to sing in a rhythm, like waves lapping against the shores of your mind. You write, E equals 2mc squared, and feel the subtle thrill of doubled energy, a soft surge that might propel a ship across the void. Each variable you define, mass, velocity, acceleration, feels like a note in a vast, cosmic lullaby. Your pen moves deliberately, slowly, like a brushstroke on a serene canvas. You explore the concept of thrust, F equals ma. Force is mass multiplied by acceleration. You close your eyes for a moment, imagining the gentle push of a spacecraft as it begins to leave the comfort of planetary gravity, the acceleration steady and even, the craft gliding like a leaf caught in a quiet current. You sense the calm power of mathematics here, how numbers themselves can suggest motion and momentum, even when the universe is vast and still. The equations become more intricate, weaving a tapestry of exponential functions, logarithms, and fractions. You pause and trace your finger over the numbers, feeling the elegance in their interconnections. Each term is not just calculation, it is story, revealing the dialogue between energy, mass, and velocity. You think of the antimatter storage, the precise magnetic fields that cradle each particle, keeping chaos at bay. The formulas whisper reassurance, they describe balance, equilibrium, the harmony that exists even in high-energy encounters. You write a derivation that links mass conversion to potential propulsion. Step by step, each symbol flows into the next. You notice how the equations mirror nature, smooth arcs, exponential curves, ratios that remind you of petals unfolding or galaxies spiraling in the night sky. The math is no longer abstract, it feels like the quiet breathing of the universe itself. The derivations become meditative, each line a soft wave that carries you further into understanding without demanding haste. Time slows. You calculate the energy released from a mere milligram of antimatter. Numbers rise, enormous yet graceful, a gentle reminder of the power resting in simplicity. You imagine the implications, a tiny amount of matter, combined with its counterpart, could nudge a ship into orbit or beyond, traversing distances that once seemed insurmountable. The equations feel like a secret song, only audible when you listen with patience, when your mind is willing to float among numbers as if they were stars scattered across a velvet sky. You pause, noticing your own rhythm of thought, your breathing syncing with the cadence of the derivations. Each calculation, each careful manipulation of variables, is not only a method of prediction but also a meditation on possibility. Logic and imagination intertwine, forming a delicate bridge between what is known and what might be. Here, in the quiet of your study, science becomes a companion, its beauty unfolding with every gentle stroke of your pen. You consider efficiency, the ratio of energy produced to energy consumed, and write equations describing propulsion systems. Eta equals P underscore out P underscore in. Symbols you once saw as rigid now feel like notes in a soft, unhurried symphony. The numbers describe more than mechanics, they describe potentiality, the subtle conversation between what exists and what can exist. You close your eyes and picture a spacecraft, sleek and silent, propelled by nothing but the graceful orchestration of antimatter annihilation. You feel a kinship with the particles themselves, each responding to fundamental laws while participating in a dance both delicate and immense. Gradually, you examine momentum conservation, imagining collisions that do not shatter but redirect, guiding motion as if the universe itself is a gentle choreographer. P equals mv, momentum equals mass times velocity, yet the simplicity belies a deep elegance. Each tiny variable contributes to a vast, interconnected web. You visualize the craft gliding past planets, each maneuver dictated by careful calculation, a quiet testament to the poetry of physics. You realize that understanding is not cold or clinical, it is intimate, a conversation between mind and cosmos. You linger on the concept of specific impulse, the efficiency of propulsion per unit of fuel. I_sp equals F, G. The letters form a pattern, an abstract melody, hinting at speed and endurance, at the quiet patience required to reach the stars. You feel as if you are sketching the contours of a dream, one where mathematics guides the journey with both precision and gentle artistry. The formulas are your companions, revealing the hidden elegance of a universe that obeys laws yet encourages imagination. Time continues its slow, gentle flow. You imagine a hypothetical journey, a spacecraft carrying a single, carefully measured dose of antimatter. The numbers tell stories: distance, time, energy, velocity. You trace the trajectory in your mind's eye, feeling the quiet certainty of mathematics, the reassurance that even across unimaginable distances, the universe's rules remain consistent, tender, and comprehensible. Each calculation is a step into the unknown, cushioned by understanding. You move next to safety margins, constraints, the equations that ensure stability, magnetic containment, energy conversion limits. These two are poetic in their precision, a silent choreography that balances potential energy against control. You feel respect for the careful thought embedded in every line, a humbling reminder that knowledge is not only power but responsibility. The numbers are guides, and you follow them with quiet reverence. As the chapter unfolds, you notice a pattern. Every formula, every derivation, carries with it a rhythm, a breath. They are not merely tools, they are invitations to see the universe as a gentle, orchestrated whole. Your mind drifts, picturing the subtle push of a photon, the mirrored paths of particles and antiparticles, the silent symphony of energy released and harnessed. Equations and imagination meet in a calm dialogue, and you feel the soft joy of comprehension, the warmth of curiosity fulfilled in the quiet hours. Finally, you lean back and observe your page, lines of numbers and symbols forming a delicate lattice. You sense the journey ahead, propelled not only by antimatter but by understanding itself. Every calculation has been a meditation, every formula a step along a path of gentle discovery. You feel connected to the cosmos, not as a distant observer but as a participant in its quiet poetry. The last line you write is not a conclusion but a soft pause, an unresolved note that hums with potential. Equations still ripple, numbers still breathe, and the universe waits patiently for the next step of imagination, the next gentle calculation that will carry your curiosity further. You begin in silence, letting the mind settle like dust drifting in a quiet room. There is a space between thoughts, a place where the universe seems to breathe with you, and there, you feel the pulse of what is possible. It is tempting to imagine energy unbound, a force that could reshape matter in a heartbeat, but with every glimmer of power comes a shadow of danger. You sense it as a tremor beneath the calm surface, a warning whispered softly by physics itself. Here, at the boundary between creation and destruction, the world seems fragile. Particles, so small you cannot see them, hum with the potential to annihilate, to release bursts of energy that could rival suns. And yet, in that very fragility, there is grace. Every atom knows its dance, guided by laws older than the stars, a rhythm that allows life, light, and thought to exist. You are learning this rhythm, not in urgency, but in quiet observation, as if the universe itself has placed a finger to your lips and asked for patience. You drift further into imagination, picturing an antimatter particle meeting its twin, matter, in a fleeting embrace. In that moment, all mass and energy are transformed. A flash of pure release, yet it is not chaos, it is a perfect conversion, a small, elegant gesture of physics that reminds you, destruction and creation are two sides of the same coin. You feel a shiver of awe, tempered by caution, knowing that curiosity can only flourish within the boundaries of respect. Your mind wanders to the spaceships and rockets you have read about, vessels of human ambition designed to harness energies that nature guards so carefully. Engineers and dreamers work quietly, translating theory into motion, coaxing protons and antiprotons to meet in controlled collisions. You can almost hear the hum of the lab, the soft whirring of magnets and detectors, each carefully calibrated to prevent catastrophe. In this place, the wild potential of the universe is tempered by human diligence, and the lesson is clear. Power without patience is perilous, but curiosity with care becomes poetry in motion. You float above the laboratory, imagining the delicate instruments suspended in vacuum, sensing the invisible ballet of particles. Each movement is precise, choreographed to avoid destruction, yet open to revelation. You notice how uncertainty itself becomes a guide, a silent partner in this dance. Not all outcomes are predictable, and yet this unpredictability does not terrify, it enriches. It teaches humility, a gentle reminder that even as humans strive to understand, there are layers of the cosmos that remain beyond reach. As you linger in thought, you consider the responsibility inherent in exploration. The universe does not plead for understanding, nor does it forbid it. It simply exists, indifferent and magnificent. And in this vastness, you realize that danger is not only physical but also conceptual. The misuse of knowledge could unleash consequences beyond imagination, and yet, the careful, reverent study of energy transforms fear into insight. There is poetry in this balance, a rhythm you feel in your chest like a quiet heartbeat. You imagine yourself on the edge of a containment field, watching antimatter particles swirl in magnetic coils. The energy they contain is staggering, a whisper of the sun's fury compressed into a space smaller than your hand. You feel the tension of holding such force at bay, the simultaneous thrill and fear of proximity. There is beauty in restraint, a subtle lesson that strength without understanding is fragile. You breathe in this lesson, letting it settle into the marrow of your thoughts. And yet, the story of energy is not just one of caution. In the very risks you imagine lies the potential for creation. Controlled releases of energy can propel humanity toward the stars, can power dreams that once seemed impossible. You sense this duality as a melody, one note of danger, another of hope, each interwoven into a continuous song. To navigate the cosmos, you must learn both notes, and in doing so, you touch something profound, the ability to coexist with uncertainty, to find calm in the presence of immense possibility. You notice how time seems to stretch in this meditation, moments drawn into slow arcs of awareness. Each thought of risk, of annihilation, of boundless energy, becomes a teaching. The universe is patient, and so must you be. Reflection becomes a form of safety, a method to approach the unknown without being consumed by it. You allow your mind to wander across the lattice of potential outcomes, seeing patterns in chaos, recognizing that what is dangerous can also be instructive, what is fleeting can leave lasting impressions. A gentle sense of rhythm emerges. The very concept of annihilation is not a threat alone, but a pulse in the vast body of physics. Matter and antimatter meet, energy blossoms, and yet the universe remains whole. You feel a subtle kinship with this process, a recognition that human life, too, exists in moments of creation and endings, in transformations that may be small but are no less profound. To witness this, even in thought, is to participate in a quiet meditation on existence itself. You wander further, imagining the delicate containment of particles, the hum of energy carefully guided through invisible channels. There is artistry in control, an elegance in restraint that mirrors the way rivers bend rather than break the land. You feel the analogy deeply. Just as water follows the path carved for it, energy follows the laws that govern it, and humans, in their careful observation, can guide, not dominate. The lesson here is gentle but firm. Respect for the natural order is not limitation, but the gateway to wonder. And in this calm, reflective state, you consider the broader implications. Beyond the lab, beyond the experiments, lies the cosmos in its infinite expanse. Stars are born and die in processes shaped by forces as relentless and beautiful as those you have imagined. Galaxies spin, particles collide, and yet in every corner of space, there is a whisper of balance. The same principles that govern a particle's fleeting existence also shape planets, stars, and life itself. You see a continuity, a thread that links the smallest annihilation to the grandest creation. You let your thoughts drift like cosmic dust, feeling the weight of possibility without being burdened. Danger and beauty coexist in every atom, and in this coexistence, there is serenity. You sense that the universe is teaching you to hold two truths at once, that energy can destroy, and that energy can give, that the unknown is daunting, and that curiosity is sacred. You breathe this duality into your awareness, letting it soften your mind, a lullaby of caution and wonder. Your reflection turns inward, contemplating your own ambitions, your own dreams of reaching beyond the familiar. You recognize the need for patience, the value of observation, the humility required to explore without fear or recklessness. There is a rhythm here, a cadence that mirrors the gentle pulse of atoms, a lesson that extends beyond physics and into life itself. Careful attention, respect for boundaries, and trust in the slow unfolding of knowledge. And as the chapter draws toward its quiet close, you linger on the edges of thought, sensing that the journey is not over. There is more to see, more to understand, and the mysteries of energy and matter continue to beckon. The dance between risk and discovery, caution and curiosity, is ongoing, and you are only beginning to move in step with it. You feel a gentle pull forward, toward the next horizon of understanding, carrying the awareness that every challenge, when met with reflection, becomes a doorway to deeper insight. You find yourself standing on the edge of a quiet observation deck, the solar winds whispering softly around you. The planets of our familiar neighborhood orbit in their steady rhythm, each one a familiar note in the lullaby of the cosmos. You breathe in slowly, feeling the weight of gravity ease from your shoulders, as if the universe itself is encouraging you to float gently into thought. You are not bound here, your mind drifts outward, carried on the invisible currents of imagination. The sun glows warmly behind you, casting long, soft shadows, and in those shadows, possibilities gather. A thought surfaces: what if we could journey beyond the solar horizon? Beyond the rings of Saturn, past the wandering comets of the Kuiper Belt, into the endless stretches that have always seemed beyond reach. You feel the pull of curiosity, a gentle tug, coaxing you forward. In this moment, you imagine a vessel unlike any you have known. Its hull shimmers with quiet light, reflecting the distant glimmer of stars. It moves not with the familiar fire of chemical rockets, but with something almost magical, the power of antimatter. Antimatter, you remember, is not fantasy. It is the mirror of matter, a counterpart that dances in perfect opposition, capable of releasing unimaginable energy when it meets its twin. In your mind's eye, the reactor hums with delicate intensity, controlled, safe, almost serene. You feel the hum resonate in your chest, a subtle vibration that syncs with your heartbeat. This is technology, yes, but also poetry, a bridge between the known laws of physics and the boundless dream of exploration. You picture yourself aboard this vessel. It is quiet, almost reverent. The walls glow softly with panels of information, lights that pulse like slow, steady breaths. Outside, the black stretches infinitely, dotted with stars that shine like tiny lanterns in a vast, velvety night. You float weightlessly, your hair drifting like water in a calm stream, as you peer out at the first distant star beyond your sun. The ship responds instantly to your thoughts, adjusting its course with gentle precision. Here, in this imagined space, curiosity is not a fleeting spark, it is a steady flame, guiding every decision, every movement. The planets fade behind you, their familiar curves shrinking until they are just pale specks in the vast tapestry of space. You notice the elegance of motion, how the ship does not merely push through space, but flows with it, riding the subtle waves of gravitational currents. Every maneuver is soft, a whisper of change rather than a crash of force. In this quiet, you begin to understand what it means to move beyond home. It is not conquest, but harmony, a patient listening to the rhythm of the universe. As the vessel approaches the outskirts of the solar system, you catch a glimpse of interstellar space, a realm so vast it seems almost unreal. There is no edge, no final boundary, only a gentle deepening of darkness, punctuated by distant suns that flicker faintly like the memory of fireflies. You feel a calm thrill, the kind that comes when you touch the infinite without fear. And in that calm, your mind wanders to the first questions that sent humanity outward in the first place. What lies beyond? Who are we in the silence between stars? How can we know without seeing, without feeling the pulse of the universe close to our own? The antimatter engine hums quietly now, an elegant proof that science and imagination are companions, not rivals. You watch as tiny bursts of energy propel you forward, each photon of light pushing the ship through darkness. In this gentle acceleration, there is a rhythm that mirrors your own breathing. Inhale, exhale, forward. And as you glide farther from familiar planets, farther even than the heliosphere, the boundaries between knowledge and wonder blur. You realize that exploration is as much a state of mind as it is a matter of propulsion. Curiosity itself becomes your vessel. You drift past clouds of interstellar dust, their shapes delicate and filigreed, catching starlight in patterns that almost feel like calligraphy written by the universe. You imagine touching them, running your hands through the slow, glittering mist. The particles are ancient, older than Earth, older than the sun that once cradled your ancestors. And yet, here they float, patient and eternal, waiting for you to notice. You are reminded that the cosmos is generous to those who observe with quiet attention. There is no rush, no pressure, only the ongoing conversation between existence and awareness. As you move deeper, you sense the intangible, the stretching of time, the softness of distance. Light years are no longer abstract, you feel them in the pulse of your own mind. Yet, there is comfort here, in this awareness, because every question leads gently to another. You do not need to reach a destination to understand. Each moment of observation, each soft calculation of your vessel's path, carries meaning. The stars, distant and serene, seem to nod in agreement, as if encouraging your quiet persistence, your patient wonder. And then, you think of home, not with longing, but with gratitude. The small blue planet, so full of life and warmth, exists in your memory as both anchor and springboard. You carry its gentle light with you, a reminder that even when moving beyond what is known, there is a root in something familiar. The solar system, once a border, now feels like a beginning. You realize that to venture beyond is not to abandon home, but to expand the circle of your understanding, to embrace the vastness with an open heart. The vessel carries you past nebulae, their colors muted by distance but no less breathtaking. Pink and gold clouds swirl like soft silk, the remnants of stars long gone. You understand that every end is also a beginning, that destruction and creation are threads of the same cosmic fabric. In the quiet of the ship, you contemplate these cycles, feeling their reflection in the quiet rhythms of your own life. There is a symmetry here, a reassurance that the universe, in its vastness, moves neither hurriedly nor without purpose. As you glide further, a gentle realization settles over you. The journey itself is the destination. Antimatter rockets, hyper-advanced navigation, interstellar maps, all of these are tools, yes, but the real voyage is within. Your mind stretches with the stars, your curiosity flows with the light years, and your sense of wonder deepens. You feel a soft elation, not loud or urgent, but steady and encompassing, like the tide that rises without effort, carrying you forward without resistance. You begin to notice subtle phenomena, gravitational waves like ripples in a calm pond, the faint glow of distant galaxies, and the delicate dance of dark matter you cannot see but sense everywhere. Every observation becomes an invitation to reflect, every calculation a meditation. You realize that knowledge need not be loud to be profound. Sometimes the deepest truths reveal themselves only in silence, in patient attention, in the willingness to float with questions instead of racing for answers. And as the ship drifts ever outward, the stars stretch into the soft infinity of interstellar space. You feel a gentle closure, not an ending but a momentary pause, a sigh shared between you and the cosmos. Curiosity, courage, and possibility have guided your imagined voyage, carrying you across light years of wonder. You understand, in the quiet, that exploration is never complete, and that the universe, in its gentle enormity, offers endless space for imagination, reflection, and quiet awe. You let your thoughts linger on the soft poetry of existence, the rhythm of atoms and starlight, the invisible threads connecting every point of space and time. And just as the vessel glides past the edge of the known, past what the mind can name, you feel the universe's quiet invitation, to dream, to wonder, and to carry these questions as gentle companions into rest.